Welcome back, everyone, to our last episode of Seahawk Central News for this year. Your source for the latest in local news and entertainment. I'm Anna Phillips.
And I'm Trevor Bray. This week brings us an overview of Wilmington's annual Azalea Festival, an interview with the mayor of Carolina Beach, and a peek at the Walk in Her Shoes March that occurred on Chancellor's Walk.
We'll also catch up with host Jessica Ferrer with this week's local and international political events, as well as Logan Cobb and Chris Vickery for Critics on Campus.
Remember to check us out on Facebook and at tealtv.org. Seahawk Central News airs every Monday through Thursday, both on TLN and the Seahawk channel.
Don't forget to check out Trey Owings and the Seahawk Central sports team on the half hour.
Stay tuned because Seahawk Central News starts right now. Could it be the Student Recreation Center is actually opening? As of now, the Department of Campus Recreation has set a date of Friday, April 26th for the ribbon cutting event. Students need to take note of the Recreation Center's special hours for the next weeks in order to prepare for the opening. The facility will be closed from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, April 17th, closed all day until 6:30 p.m. Thursday, April 18th, and closed all day Wednesday, April 24th and Thursday, April 25th.
The Anne Frank House is getting new attention after pop star Justin Bieber stopped by last week. According to the Amsterdam site, Bieber wrote in the guest book that it is truly inspiring to be able to come here. Anne was a great girl. Hopefully she would have been a belieber. Beliebers is the name for the fans and followers of Justin Bieber's music. The star has taken much backlash for this comment. Many feel that he was actually disrespectful to the legacy of Anne Frank and that he was selfish in hoping for such a thing. Some have responded with the idea that Anne Frank wouldn't take offense. She is the one who so famously wrote, "Despite everything, I still believe people are truly good at heart."
Seahawk Central News was at the scene of the 2013 D. Frank Hall McGraven Interfaith Conference last weekend. The event featured presentations based on the many interpretations of faith, especially in Christianity and Judaism. Speakers included UNCW faculty members and guest lecturers. The keynote address was given by Vincent Wimbush, professor of religion and director of the Institute for Signifying Scripture, Claremont Graduate University.
The UNCW Theater Department has officially put on its final show of the season, Prom, which features a unique remake of the classic high school tale. From football games to the final dance, this play remakes each character for each production.
Yeah, prom is basically the experience of prom. When your high school year, it's the last dance. It's basically the last fun you'll have in high school. And it's that conflict of not only like mental conflicts of what you're dealing with prom, who I'm going to go with, how's everybody going to view me, but you also have that conflict with the teachers and authorities. So you have that same conflict of I want to grow up and I want to be big. So it's all about that experience of just growing up and that transition from high school to an adult.
We each created individual characters with like backstories, and we all got Facebooks for the characters. Then we I don't know any better word to say than like devised it. We came up with cheers and dances and everything specific to our characters, how our characters would walk, stand, talk, and then we just put it all together.
I think my favorite part was meeting the people from New Paradise Laboratories. I really enjoyed the experience of learning from them, and the director Whit was amazing to work with, and it was something that I've never done before, so I just loved that experience altogether.
I really like the company members coming in and getting to see and work with them and see how they move, what their process is, and picking up on that. And working with Whit was a lot of fun too.
This piece actually is something that everybody can relate to. Everybody's been a prom. Everybody can relate to at least one of those characters that's on stage.
Who says you can only get a good bowl of clam chowder in New England? Seahawk Central News reporter Hannah Brewer attended the 17th annual Pleasure Island Chowder Cook-Off in Carolina Beach, where local restaurants showcased their renditions of the soup. Hannah?
Chefs from local restaurants have gathered here at the Carolina Beach Lake Park for the 17th annual Pleasure Island Chowder Cook-Off. Attendees can listen to live music, sample chowder, and then vote on their favorites. We spoke to a few of the attendees and event coordinators to find out a little bit more.
This event kicks off our season. I mean, we have a season full of free events and stuff here on the island. Basically, this was geared toward starting our season off with having a chowder cook-off. I mean, everybody loves chowder, and you know, this time of year, the weather's getting right, people are wanting to get outside more. So this is kind of how, that was the concept behind the whole idea of having a chowder cook-off. But basically what we do, we have 8 restaurants this year that are vying for the title of Best Chowder. And what we've done is we've asked local celebrities, local politicians, people like that to come in and do blind judging. They come in at 12:30, they judge all the chowder based on different qualifications and things like that, and then they announce the overall winner. But then we also have a People's Choice Award that can be, you know, people can go and vote on them and stuff like that.
Michael McGowan, as we know, was the owner of Michael's Seafood Restaurant here in Carolina Beach. He passed away October 9th, 2012 of cystic fibrosis from complications from that. And we started a scholarship for Cape Fear Community College culinary arts students in his name. And we're raising money to get that started to help, you know, kids live out their dreams like Michael did with his.
My favorite chowder is Havana. What I like to do here, the music's amazing. I really like funnel cake. And the boat rides here are just amazing. Everything here is, you can't beat it.
We've been coming for 3 years, and it's tasting the chowder. And the music is awesome, and the people, you meet some really great people here. So it's like the start of the summer and the spring with the fresh air, so it's a lot of fun.
Whether you're here for the live music, to sample some chowder, or enjoy the beautiful weather, it's a great way to kick off the beach season. This is Hannah Brewer for Seahawk Central News, TLTV.
Venezuela has a new president, but not by much. Nicolas Maduro, the successor chosen by the late Hugo Chavez, won the election by only 200,000 votes. Rumors of possible voter fraud spread quickly after the polls closed, though there is no evidence of this being true. Many wonder how Maduro will do in the coming months as he faces the presidency Chavez left behind after his death in March. There is word of conflict within his own party as well as economic trouble across the country.
Oozeball is a tradition like no other here at the Dub. Students unite to roll, slip, slide, and play an ungainly game of volleyball in the mud. The event was created in the early 1990s as a means for students to de-stress around the final exam period. This year's turnout is expected to be one of the highest, with nearly 1,000 students registered and a total of 140 teams. How do the recreation fields get so muddy, you ask? Well, the Wilmington Fire Department plans to spray down the courts throughout the day to ensure no student leaves the field clean. You can catch all the action at the Gazebo Recreation Fields on Saturday, April 21st from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Human waste has become a problem on Carolina Beach. Our Logan Spaller is there to interview the mayor. Let's see what he has to say about the situation. Logan?
I'm here with Bob Lewis, the mayor of Carolina Beach, to discuss the recent issues with human waste being dumped on the beaches. Now, Bob, could you first just tell us a little bit about the issue that's been arising?
Yeah, we've had visitors to our beaches for years, but you know, with the opening of Freeman Park and really making the popularity, if you really get down to it, more and more people are visiting the Freeman Park area, which is really an open strand of beach. People can camp there for days or weeks. Individuals go out there and spend the whole weekend. In that environment, because it's become so popular, now people are now entertaining, bringing in like camping type porta-johns. These are like little tents that have a porta-john in them. Little kids they have porta-johns for little children. Even though the town here, Carolina Beach, we provide numerous porta-johns throughout the area, multiple locations. They bring in their own, what I call more or less personal porta-johns. They're taking the human waste from those porta-johns and then basically throwing it into the water or on our beach, or they're dumping it into garbage cans within the facility that we have for garbage removal sometime in the future. Without hazmat materials or hazmat training or hazmat outfits, our staff is not really in a position to be able to handle that type of material. And by state and federal law, basically, is not supposed to handle that material. Unfortunately, we're getting more and more of that. So we've made the decision this year at the recommendation of our Freeman Park Committee. It's a whole committee of people to talk about and decide what are the types of things and rules we should impact in the park so everybody can enjoy themselves. We have a clean beach environment. We think about the environment for future generations, those type of things. And one of the things they came up with is the elimination of those being allowed within the park. So if anybody brings their own personal porta-john to the park, they'll be asked to remove it, put it away, or take it off. They'll actually be asked to remove from the park, leave the park. So even if you paid a day pass, you came in there with a personal porta-john, you'll be asked to be removed from the park. We also have a fine imposed. You can have a fine imposed of $100. So you got to make a decision. Is it worth my time to just take a little walk over to the porta-johns provided by the town, or is it worth my time and money to bring out a personal porta-john type device or type of a unit in order just to make myself happy.
So how long has this issue been going on?
It's something we've seen more and more of over the last 2 years. Okay. So last year the committee talked about it. This year the Freeman Park Committee made significant recommendations, very firm recommendations, that we need to stop this. And then we looked at the safety issues for our employees who are going out there and picking this up. There's extreme health issues for not only employees, but health issues for those people around you. If you're gonna let that stuff into the water, the ocean does not dissipate that water quickly. So those type of waste quickly. So it really is an issue around safety and healthy for anybody who's using the beach. So we just don't want anybody using it right there. The porta-johns that the town have are way back on the dunes, right at the border of the dunes. They're not in any water environment. They don't pollute anything. We clean them every single day. So they're very clean when you get there. We just don't understand why people decide they're just not going to use those. So.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
Appreciate
it sounds like it's a lot of improvements being
it's
made.
Good.
And
we're trying to be ecology friendly. We're trying to be good with nature, and that's what we've always done. And now we're moving to another step in that process.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Until next time, I'm Logan Spaller reporting for Seahawk Central News, TLTV. Back to you in the studio.
Reporter Aki Suzuki took a walk in somebody else's shoes last Thursday. In a means to support domestic violence and sex trafficking awareness, students strolled down Chancellor's Walk in a pair of heels or decorated slippers. Aki has more at the scene.
Thursday, April 11th, student government put on their event Walk a Mile in Her Shoes on Chancellor's Walk. Today, students were encouraged to come out and either rock an extremely high heel or a bejeweled slipper. This is for the support and the awareness of domestic violence as well as sexual assault. Today I got some interviews to find out what all went into planning this event, as well as how interactive the students on campus have been.
You know, we try to be realistic. So what happened today was exactly what we wanted, which was to raise awareness for women's rights and domestic violence, rape, sexual assault, and give men the opportunity to take a stand for the women in their lives and to hold each other accountable in their community. So was it perfect? No, we did have some issues, like when we would address people that were walking by. Hi, would you like to take a stand against interpersonal violence? Some people would be like, no, that's a myth. But what I think that stands for and what that means is that we need to work even harder to raise awareness.
Well, I know a few friends who have been victims of sexual assault, so I thought it was important for us to go out and walk, because I think it's amazing that they were willing to share their stories with me and other people. And so I think that the least that we can do is put on events like this just to raise awareness and let people know that, you know, there are people our age who are, you know, being victims of rape and sexual assault, and the numbers are actually pretty higher than you would think. So I think this is great.
Well, this event, Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, is an event that, unlike other programs we put on, this one is very personal. This one is very intimate with who it's for. Sexual awareness, or Sexual Assault Awareness Month, is something that a lot of people try to avoid because it can be kind of an uncomfortable topic. So for this program as a whole, we have to be really sensitive about how we go about it. And the thing with this is we had to go into personal experiences with assault and rape victims, and we get their story, not one-on-one, but from online that they've reported from it. And it's hard to read. It's hard to do this kind of work without having a heart for them and really caring for them, which is something we're trying to get across.
UNCW really is a school that provides so many opportunities for its students to come out and become an active part of improving its community. I hope you guys all had a chance to come out and show your support through Walking a Mile in Her Shoes. I'm Aki Suzuki, Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
This week's political host, Jessica Ferrer, brings you up to date on the latest national and international news. Jessica?
Thank you, Trevor. Welcome back, Seahawks, and thanks for joining me, Jessica Ferrer, for your last political update of the year here on Seahawk Central News. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry stressed that he wants peace, not war, with North Korea. Kerry said that the U.S. is willing to engage in talks with the country as long as it takes steps to give up nuclear weapons. He made these statements at the end of his Asian tour in Tokyo, saying that Washington would protect its Asian allies like Japan and South Korea. Negotiation is Kerry's first weapon of choice, however. If Chinese officials were willing to talk with North Korea about backing down on threats and denuclearization, Kerry said he wouldn't shut the door on that option. Currently, China is North Korea's sole financial and diplomatic benefactor. Even as the Pentagon plans to position 2 missiles in the Western Pacific and a missile defense system in Guam, Washington is still emphasizing peace. Recently, North Korea's government announced that a retaliatory action will take place without further notice. Gun sale background checks have been endorsed by a large alliance of gun owners. The chairman of the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms has announced support last week. This position puts the groups at odds with the NRA. The Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms has over 600,000 members when compared to the NRA's 5 million. The chairman, Alan Gottlieb, said that he and one of the group's lobbyists helped work on the bipartisan Senate deal on gun control. He says that the deal still protects gun control rights, like interstate sales of handguns and restoring gun rights to veterans. The background check deal was put together by Republican Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania and Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. The NRA reiterated its opposition to the measure last week. Even though the background check measure of the bill received support from a gun rights group, it lacked votes in the Senate. The Senate's Gang of 8 have debuted their immigration reform plan. The bipartisan group plans to file their bill on Tuesday, April 23rd. A press announcement has been delayed due to the deadly blasts at the Boston Marathon. The bill will attempt to make the most substantive changes to immigration in the United States in nearly 3 decades. Proponents of the bill are saying that it's about time that lawmakers do something for the 11 million immigrants that live in the U.S. Opponents of the bill, however, will argue the high cost of potentially providing pricey federal benefits to millions of people. Those same opponents are also calling the 13-year path to citizenship amnesty. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer of New York and Republican Senator John McCain of Arizona will meet with President Obama next week about the deal. Thanks again for watching, Seahawks. Remember, your political voice is important. From DC to the Deb, I'm Jessica Ferrer.
Earth Day in Wilmington is almost here. The annual festival in Hugh McCray Park will be on April 20th beginning at noon. This year's theme is "The world is your oyster, don't shuck it up." The festival will feature local food and beverages, over 60 environmental exhibits, a kids' eco zone, live local music, and more. Admission is free for everyone.
Spanish majors, minors, and specialists enjoyed a night of international comedy Tuesday night. UNCW Spanish Theater Club Puero Teatro, presented by El Espejo, which translates to the mirror. Seahawk Central News was on the scene at Cameron Hall Auditorium as faculty, staff, and students all gathered for an evening of laughter. The playwright was extracted from Emilio Carballido, one-act comedy.
There has been great speculation about potential conflict with North Korea. This week on Talk on the Walk, Kristen Dre is asking students how they feel about it. Kristen?
Hi, I'm Kristen Dre for this week's segment of Talk on the Walk. Today we will be asking students what their thoughts are on the recent conflicts involving North Korea. Let's see what they have to say.
Well, last I heard, North Korea cut off some of the last communications with South Korea, and I think that the guy in charge of North Korea is a little bit crazy. I think he's going to try to shoot something off or something. It's just going to fail miserably.
I honestly believe that nothing's going to happen. It's been too publicized for the military to really be able to act appropriately to the situation. So I believe they're just trying to, make some money and publicize everything.
I don't think they're going to do anything. I don't think they have the technological capabilities. They've had a bunch of failed missile launches. They haven't really had a successful one.
Well, first of all, we need to stop being the world's police. And second, I would say, honestly, there's more important things that we need to handle here, like our economy.
I think it shouldn't be taken as a joke. Like the MTV Movie Awards made a joke about it, and I think it's a lot more serious than that.
I just feel like it's just a test right now. I think that Kim Jong is kind of nervous because he's new in power and he wants to just show America and other countries that he's powerful. So I don't feel like he's bold enough to attack us, though.
Well, I think Kim Jong is just having a lot of war rhetoric, shaking the big stick to scare other countries and showing his power and what he can do. And I think it's really nothing more than talk, and it goes to show with on the 10th, he said, oh, we're going to have some kind of action, and they had their missiles pointed up, and then later that day they pointed them back down and just backed off like they weren't going to do anything because they were too scared. They knew if they actually do anything that there's no longer going to be a North Korea. It's just going to be a parking lot for South Korea.
Although many of our fellow students are taking North Korea's efforts lightly, others find them to be a serious threat. I'm Kristen Dre, Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
3 UNCW students have won a major science scholarship award. Jackie Kroger, Emma Rice, and Alexa Sterling each won an undergraduate Hollings Scholarship. The award is given to 126 students nationally and covers a 2-year time span. During that period, the recipients can get financial aid for further study and are given a summer internship with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The award is given annually in honor of Senator Ernest Hollings, who helped found the NOAA. The award is meant to further educate, train, and foster hands-on experiences for those who intend to work in the fields of oceanic and atmospheric science.
Boston is open today for business, but it will not be business as usual, was the statement Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick gave to the proceedings of the explosions during the Boston Marathon. Bostonians set out to spend April 15, 2013, honoring Patriots Day and the Boston Marathon. However, no one could foresee the horror that arose. The 2 explosions that set fire at the finish line left more than 150 individuals injured, nearly 20 in critical condition, and 3 dead, including an 8-year-old boy who was innocently waiting for his marathon-running father to cross the finish line. The Massachusetts National Guard responded instantaneously, nearly doubling the amount of troops in Boston from 460 to 1,000 servicemen. While Boston may look defeated from the outside looking in, Bostonians have remained resilient. NBC Sports Network reported that marathon runners crossed the finish line continued to run to the Massachusetts General Hospital to give blood for victims. And former New England Patriots offensive guard Joe Androzzi carried a victim to safety from the scene of the bombings. Investigators are working day and night to find who was responsible for the bombings to assure justice is carried out. In this week's Critics on Campus, Logan Cobb and Chris Vickery check out the new film 42. Logan?
Thanks, Trevor, and welcome to Critics on Campus. I'm your host, Logan Cobb, alongside my co-host, Chris Vickery. Chris, this week we've got the movie 42, which is a story of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier and entering the Major League Baseball. It really just covers his initial contact by Branch Rickey, played by Harrison Ford, and it goes through his first full year as a member of the Brooklyn Dodgers. This has a lot of big names, but mainly just Harrison Ford and then a relatively unknown guy in Chadwick Boseman. But what'd you think of this movie?
You know, it's a tough movie to review because I feel like it had a lot of hype coming up into it. And Jackie Robinson is obviously a huge story to tackle.
Absolutely.
But all in all, the actors were phenomenal. The performances were amazing. I mean, and they were completely engrossing. But the writing is some of the sloppiest I have seen in almost a decade. It's really tough to get into the movie because it's so poorly paced. And there are a lot of moments that could have been great character development opportunities that were just completely glazed over. And so it's tough for me to come to this movie and really appreciate it because I was very excited for it. I know you were as well. But it's tough for me to come into this movie and really enjoy it as much as I wanted to when the performances were not supported by the quality of writing that needed to happen.
You know, I really don't even know where to begin. I mean, this is a movie that I was looking forward to. I'm a big sports fan, big sports movie guy. I got ties in the New York area. I lived in New York City for a little while, and I was so let down by this movie. I think this is the most let down I've ever been leaving a movie theater, ever. I mean, the acting was phenomenal. I mean, Jackie Robinson's a daunting task for somebody to act out. And I thought that Chadwick Boseman did a great job. But again, that writing, the way this movie was put together was just terrible. I mean, this movie was a golden opportunity. They had a chance to hit a home run here. And what did they do? They popped out the center field. It was terrible.
And the biggest thing that it comes down to is that it was a 2-hour movie that felt like it was 3.5 hours. There are plenty of nuances that didn't quite hit the mark, but all in all, it felt long and dragged.
It did, and there were moments in this that showed glimmer of what this could have been. Like,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
see those moments and you're like, wow, if the whole movie was like that, it would be fantastic. But it wasn't. It would have a moment like that, and then it would have 30 minutes of just more awful, slow, weird, choppy paced stuff.
Yeah.
I was just upset. You know, I felt uncomfortable at times, like just because of the way it was going. It didn't flow right. And for me, you know, I have to compare this to another movie similar to it. Sports movie, another golden opportunity that was missed, and that was Bobby Jones' Stroke of Genius. Another movie with fantastic actors, but it just did not hold up. And it felt like that. It was just hard for me to watch as a diehard sports fan.
Yep.
It was rough. But so out of 5 stars, I mean, what would you give this one?
I got to give it a 2. The performances are a real redeeming quality here, and it's definitely worth seeing for the performances.
Yes.
And the casting was done incredibly well. But all in all, you can't get over a poorly put together story.
I would have to agree. I mean, you know, I give it a point solid for Harrison Ford and a point for the rest of the actors, but 2 stars for me. I'm upset still. Even thinking about it now, it's upsetting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Well, that's it for this week and this year's edition of Critics on Campus. Thank you everyone for watching, and back to you guys in the studio.
After the passing of Gerald H. Senn back in January, UNC Wilmington is finally holding a memorial service for the late professor of philosophy and religion. Shin was a staple of the department, having served with the university 27 years, from 1967 to 1994. In his last year with UNCW, Shin received the prestigious O. Max Gardner Award presented by the UNC Board of Governors for his contributions to the welfare of human race. A lot of students on campus regularly pass the gazebo-like structure between the international dorms and honors housing. Well, that area is dedicated to Shin in 2001 and coined Shin Plaza. Community members may honor Shin come April 20th at 4 p.m. in Randall Library.
A group of UNCW students are banding together to support the end of international poverty. A national nonprofit called Kiva sets up loans between donors and recipients. Basically, the recipient uses the money to work their way out of poverty and then pays back the donor. The UNCW students are raising funds for a particular cause entitled the 1 Acre Fund, which will go to rural families in Kenya. The event is at Boombalati's off Military Cutoff on April 17th. From 5 to 9 p.m., you can go and enjoy local homemade ice cream, knowing that 15% of the proceeds will go to Kiva.
Thanks again for joining us here at Seahawk Central News.
Don't forget, Seahawk Central News airs every day at 5 and 6 p.m. Stay tuned for Trey Owings and Seahawk Central Sports on the Half Hour.
Be sure to visit our Facebook page and tealtv.org to catch all of our past episodes. Until next time, I'm Trevor Bray.
And I'm Anna Phillips saying,
so long, Seahawks.